Hey class, good morning. I hope everyone is doing well and welcome back to your online GIS Pathshala. So today we are going to study a very nice chapter, a very simple chapter and a very interesting chapter with a very simple message. This chapter has been illustrated in a very simple language, so I'm not going to give you a deep analysis of the chapter. Instead, today I'm going to teach you or show you a good review of the chapter in a different way. So before we proceed, I want you to understand few basic concepts of the chapter, which is really important to have a very quick introduction. Okay. Now these are the main characters of the chapters: Mridu, Tapi, Tatha, Rukmani, Lalli, Ravi, and Meena. So, if I tell you about Mridu, Mridu is a young girl. She is growing up in Madras, which is now basically formally known as Chennai in Tamil Nadu, with her Tapi. Now, Tapi is her grandmother, and Tatha. Tatha is her grandfather. So Tapi is not actually the name of the grandfather, and Tatha is not the name of his grandfather. Instead, Tapi means grandmother and Tatha means grandfather in Tamil language. As I said, Mridu was growing up in Chennai, that is Tamil Nadu, and the local language of Tamil Nadu is Tamil. So in Tamil, you call grandmother as Tapi and grandfather as Tatha. Okay. So here one afternoon, Tapi, that is her grandmother, what she calls her in Tamil, takes her to her aunt's place. Now Rukumani is Mridu's aunt. Okay, and she has 3 children. This one is Lalli, second is Ravi, and third is Meena. So they 3 are supposed to be her cousins. Okay. Now let's proceed with the story. Smiling Rukmani threw open the door. Ravi and Meena rushed out and Ravi pulled Mridu inside the house in excitement. Wait, let me take off my slippers, protested Mridu. She set them out neatly near a pair of large ones. Those were grey, actually with dust. You could see the clear marks of every toe on the front of each slipper. The marks of the 2 big toes were long and scrawny, as you could see in the image. Mridu didn't have much time to wonder about those slippers. They were because Ravi dragged her in the backyard behind a thick bitterberry bush. So she had to run quickly. There inside, a torn football lined with sacking and filled with sand lay a very small kitten lapping up milk from a coconut half shell. He says, "We found him outside the gate this morning. He was mewing and mewing. Poor thing." Said Meena. "It's a secret. Amma says Party will leave for our Padu Mama's house if she know we have a cat. People always tell us to be kind to animals, but when we are, they scream." "Oh, don't bring that dirty creature here," said Ravi. "Do you know how hard it is to just get a little milk from the kitchen? Party would have caught me. I told her I'm very hungry, I want to drink it. But the way she looked at me, I had to drink most of it to throw her off the scent. Then she wanted the tumbler back. Party, I'll wash it myself," insisted. "Why should I put you to trouble?" I told her. and I ran and poured the milk to the coconut shell and then ran back and washed the tumbler and put it back before party really got suspicious or doubtful on me. Now we have to think some other way to feed Mahindran. Mahindran? This little kitty's name is Mahindran? Mridu was impressed. It was a real name, not just a cute kitty cat name, but a real name. Ravi says actually his full name is Mahindra Varma Pallava Pune. For short, if you like, you can call it MP Pune. Now here, Pune in Tamil means cat. He's a fine breed of cat, said Ravi. Just look at his fur, like a lion's mane. And you know what? The emblem of the ancient Pallava kings. You remember that? Don't you? He looked expectantly at Mridu. Mridu giggled. Think I'm joking? Well, just wait, I'll show you something. It's clear you don't know a thing about the history, defended Ravi. Haven't you been to Mahabalipuram? Have you? But Meena keeps laughing at his joke. Now, Mahabalipuram is a place in Tamil Nadu where you could see ancient histories of temples and the Pallava kingdoms and everything. So here he says, when our class went to Mahabalipuram, I saw a statue at its tathas, and tathas. It's like these are the, goddess of those Pallava periods, etc., etc. Mahindra here is descended from that very same ancient clan. This is what Ravi believes. And Mridu cannot hold his laugh on this. Descended from the ancient time, a species of the ancient Pallavas cat? Are you silly? A close relative, scientifically speaking of, none other than the lion. The Pallava lion, emblem of the Pallava dynasty. Ravi went on, walking around the bitterberry bush, waving a twig up and down, his eyes sparkling. This cat is descended of none other than the Mahabalipuram Rishi cat. I take the oath of it. And if I just remind you, they worship cats in ancient Egypt. How he loved the sound of his own voice, said Meena. Meena and Mridu exchanged look. What does that have to do with anything? Mridu demanded. Huh? I'm telling you, this cat is descended from the Egyptian cat god, no goddess. So, said Mrida and Meenu. Well, one of the descendants of that cat goddess was stowaway in one of the Pallava ship, and his descendant was the Mahabalipuram Rishi cat, who descended it. Ravi flourished his twigs at Mahindran. He was at any cost wanted to prove it that this cat is descended from the Pallava. So he started making stories and stories and stories on it. Mahindran looked up. The cat looked up, alarmed, shocked. He had just been sharpening his claws on the edge of the coconut shell. But worse than Ravi's awful whoop eek, that itching, that creepy sound from the window made the cat feared. If Mridu was startled, MP Pune was frightened out of the wits. Hair sound on end, he bounced up and scurried towards a bamboo tray of red chilies that had been set out to dry, trying to hide beneath it so that no one could see them. He tipped a few chilies over himself and he howled miserably. He tried to peep miserably. The creaking sound went on and on. What this noise is, said Mridu. That's Lali, learning to play the violin, grunted Ravi. She'll never learn a thing. The music master just goes on playing like a train. Now here Lali is actually learning to play music. But here Ravi says that she's not going to learn anything. She's just putting a time pass on her. The music master just goes on playing like a train, whizzing on and on, while Lali all the time starts just staring at it, going completely off the track, not at all following it. And you could see here is Lali and the music master who is trying to teach Lali to play the violin, but she's not on the track. She isn't following her. Now Mridu crept to the window. Lali was sitting in a little distance away, awkwardly holding her violin and bowstring, her elbows jutting out and eyes glazed with concentration. In front of her, with most of his back to the window, was the bony figure of the music master. He had mostly bald head with a fringe of all black hair falling around his ears and an old-fashioned tuft. You could see this is the physical description about the music master. It is the description of how he looks. A gold chain gleamed around his leathery neck. Why leathery? Because you could see the scratches on the neck. And a diamond ring glittered on his hand as it glided up and down the stem of the violin. A large foot stuck out from beneath his gold-bordered vesty edge, and he was beating time on the floor with scrawny big toe. He played a few notes. Lali stumbled behind him on her violin, which looked quite helpless and unhappy in her hands. With a difference, the music master's notes seemed to float up and settle perfectly into the invisible tracks of the melody. It was like the wheels of a train fitting smoothly into the rails and whizzing along, as Ravi said. But it was completely opposite with Mridu. It's always out of the track. Lali. Mridu stared at the huge branch hand moving effortlessly up and down the violin stem, making lovely music. Squawk! There was Lali, dearling again. Amma. Amma is mother in Tamil. Amma means a mother. Came a volley from the gate. Amma, oh. Ravi sent that the beggar away, cried his mother. Now there was a beggar outside who was calling her mother to give them some food or anything. But her mother said, Ravi, please ask that beggar to go away. She was chatting with her grandmother. He has been coming here every day for the past week, the beggar, and it's time that he finds another house to beg from, said Pati to Tapi. Mridu and Meena followed Ravi out. The beggar was already in the garden making himself quite at home. Quite at home means quite comfortable. He had spread his upper cloth under the neem tree and was leaning against its trunk, apparently to prepare to take a little snooze, while he waited for the person or anyone from the house to appear. Go away, said Ravi, sternly and very rudely. My party say it's time for you to find another house to beg from. The beggar opened his eyes very wide and gazed at each other of the children one by one.